It's a presentation on Georgia milestone data for Shaw High School. Just a little background information as to what the Georgia Milestones is. According to the Georgia Department of Education, the Georgia Milestone Assessment Program is an assessment tool for students grades 3 to 12, and it's used to measure how well the students are or have mastered the content standards that are passed down from the state of Georgia. The data from the milestone can play an important tool with teachers, with parents, as well as with students in order to help guide and monitor instruction and learning. Milestone testing is one component that goes into the CCRPI, or College and Career Readiness Preparation Index, which is a rating system that every school in the state of Georgia receives as part of the state's accountability system. Now, as far as who is tested in the Georgia Milestone Assessment Program, all students enrolled in public education from grades 3 to 12 are tested. Students from grade 3 through 8 are tested are given an end of grade test in mathematics and language arts. Grades 5 through 8 are also tested in science and social studies. Once you get into high school, grades 9 to 12, those students are given an end of course test. It's what's termed a high stakes testing program. There's 8 total tests they'll take in high school, 2 tests per curriculum. In English language arts, you have 9th grade literature and composition, as well as American literature and composition, and math, coordinate algebra and geometry, science, biology and physical science, social studies, you take it in U.S. history and economics. That kind of brings us to the meat of this presentation today. Okay, we're going to look at the high school, or the Georgia Milestone data as it pertains to Shaw High School with the concentration of United States history. First, we're going to look at a comparison between Shaw and our data from 2015 and Shaw High School's data from 2016. The reason I only have 2 years here is because Georgia Milestones has only been implemented for 2 years. So this is all the data that we really have to go on right here. Just to take you across what categories we're going to be looking at, which we'll look at these categories the same for the rest of the presentation. Right here, you'll see the year, followed by the number of total tests taken, your mean score or your average score. And then you have 4 types of learners that are identified by the Georgia Milestone program. First, you have beginning learners, which is anybody scoring from 215 to 474. You have developing learners, that's the second type, or second level, it's 475 to 524. You have your proficient learners, 525 to 589. And then you have your level of distinguished learners from 590 to 765. Your last row right over here is basically the state's going to identify what percentage of your learners or your people that took the test, okay, were either proficient or above. So we're level 3 or 4, because that's ultimately the goal. We're trying to get every learner to at least meet that proficient category. So looking at 2015 to 2016, you see we had 264 tests compared to 252. Our mean score in 2015 was 500. Where in 2016, we improved that 1.501. 31% of our learners were at the beginning level. In 2015, 41% compared to 38% in 2016. We're in the developing stage, 24% in 2015 compared to 26% in 2016. We're in the proficient stage, and 4% compared to 5% we're in the distinguished stage. All right. So again, we only have 2 years to compare there. But you do see some gains in the positive direction, especially with your mean score, your percentage of proficient, and your percentage of your distinguished learners. Now, taking Shaw's 2016 data and comparing it to other schools in the Muscatine County School District, as well as the state of Georgia, as you can see, we're a little bit behind in terms of our mean score, 501 at our level, 511 was the mean score for the school district, and 520 for the state. Not too terribly far behind there, but you can see there is a little bit of a room for improvement there. We do have a higher percentage of beginning and developing learners, and we are a little bit behind in the proficient and the distinguished learners. But that's where we are compared to the school district as well as the state. A few more, we'll break it down from a gender standpoint. The gender data, you see it here, 120 total tests for females, 132 for males. A mean score of 506 for males compared to 496 for females. You'll see the females do have a little bit higher of a percentage for your beginning and your developing learners, where your males had a little bit higher percentage numbers for your proficient as well as your distinguished learners. We also broke it down by ethnic groups. Okay, I think it's important here to understand in order to provide meaningful test reliability, test data, as well as to protect the identity of those students. Any ethnic group that has less than 10 number of total tests taken do not provide any data here. So as you can see with Asian and Pacific Islander, there were 6 number of total tests taken. They did not provide, Georgia Department of Education does not provide any data on that. And then obviously with our American Indian subgroup there, we didn't have anybody there, so there's no data to report. Our last subgroup data here, students with disabilities, students section 504, and your English is a second language. We had 38, 6, and 16 respectively. Once again, with your section 504, there were less than 10 total tests taken. Therefore, no data was reported by the Department of Education. Now, what does it mean? Okay, first, we have shown some improvement. If you look at 2015 to 2016, there was improvement made. Was it as much as we want to? Probably not. Okay, but we did show improvement in total mean score, or average score, percentage of proficient learning, as well as percentage of distinguished learners. So that's the good news there. There was an improvement showed. Do we have room to continue to improve? Yes, we do. Okay, but I think the important thing to realize is it's not time to hit the panic button. With the milestone only having been in for 2 years, it's still a new assessment. And anytime you have a new assessment or a new program, not only does it affect the students, but it's going to affect the instructors as well. Instructors are being asked to teach differently. They're being asked to assess students differently than they ever have. Students are being taught differently than they have in the past, and they're being assessed differently, than they have in the past. So I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet, but do realize that we do have room to improve. How do we improve? I think it's important to incorporate literacy standards in order to encourage writing across the curriculum. We're going away from the standardized tests where it's just multiple choice, sit down, bubble something in. Everything is constructive response, open-ended questions. So if that's what the students are going to be tested on or assessed upon, then we as educators need to make sure that we're giving them those tools, okay, and having them practice that across the curriculum. Early remediation to assess the mastery of the standards is going to be important. Being able to look early at those kids that do need remediation and remediate them, those that do need acceleration and accelerate those. Continue to develop ways in order to differentiate instruction. Once again, finding out which students do need remediation, allowing them to do so, which ones need acceleration, and allowing them the tools to do that. And all that kind of rolls into this last point here is it's going to be important that we, as educators, participate in professional learning communities. By doing so, it will help us to develop formative instructional practices, which once again, we'll be able to identify beginning, developing, and proficient level learners. Once we do that, and the earlier that we do that, we can then have a normal progression of learning, which is basically taking those beginning level learners, getting them to the development level, taking the developing learners, getting them to the proficient level, and hopefully then taking the proficient level and getting them to the distinguished level learners. So, any questions?